Been very good. DC's up there. It's one of the big boys. It's not a small market team.
Check out the Dominique Foxworth Show anywhere you get your podcast. Now on Sports Center all night. MLB All-Star Week opens with the Home Run Derby.
Left center, pulled that one on the ground, and he's done. 41 home runs. Julio Rodriguez, who flexes now at home plate.
Northwestern fires coach Pat Fitzgerald.
I'm shocked by it, and as long as I've been around this sport, not much surprises me anymore.
Victor Wembanyama's time in Summer League is over.
Now he's on his way back to San Antonio, but he's basically going to be in the gym and keeping a low profile in his new house in San Antonio once he figures it out.
Things are heating up in week 2 of Wimbledon.
Carlos Alcaraz muscles into the quarterfinals.
Plus, when will Dame have a new home?
We're going to see, how this lands, and if it takes months, it takes months.
This is Sports Center all night.
Ask Juan Soto what he should be doing here.
Hey, they want to know what he should be doing right now.
Just secure the ball. Take it easy. You got power, baby. Come on.
Línea.
Here's Jay Reynolds.
Focus on the Pacific Northwest. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM, Channel 80. Lineups are set for Tuesday's Midsummer Classic, coming off one heck of a night on the Diamond in Seattle.
20 seconds to go.
I mean, no slowdown at all. Everything is out.
Rodriguez,
Everything.
40. 10 seconds remaining for Rodriguez, who's putting on an absolute show.
Every ball he hits in the air is gone.
Left center, pulled that one on the ground, and he's done. 41 home runs. Julio Rodriguez, who flexes now at home plate.
Julio Rodriguez with 41 homers in the first round of Monday night's Derby, most ever in a single round in Derby history. Much more on the Home Run Derby coming up in 4 minutes. But from the Pacific Northwest to Northwestern.
Bombshell report involving the Northwestern Wildcats football team involving allegations of hazing.
This is just a difficult situation, and it hasn't been handled well by the university. The investigation that Northwestern commissioned, did not find sufficient evidence that Pat Fitzgerald or any of his coaches knew about what they were able to corroborate. But that obviously generated a reaction, and the university president is now, as he said, reconsidering that penalty, which is essentially a 2-week suspension.
It was Friday that, amid hazing allegations, Northwestern suspended football coach Pat Fitzgerald. That did not go over well. Given the nature of the allegations, there were a lot of eyebrows raised when Fitzgerald was given a 2-week suspension in the middle of summer. School presidents saying over the weekend they'd take another look at the situation, and that they did. Monday, it went from a 2-week suspension to Pat Fitzgerald being fired. ESPN's Adam Rittenberg is at Northwestern.
President Michael Schill said he had time to reflect on that initial discipline, the 2-week suspension. And during that time, there were details that came out about these hazing allegations from the former player, the whistleblower who brought these to Northwestern back in late November. Those details were out in media reports, the Daily Northwestern, ESPN. I spoke to this individual, and so did Michael Schill. He spoke to that student. He spoke to that student's family. It became more personal, and after hearing from a lot of people on both sides, supportive of Pat Fitzgerald, wanting a change, he said in his letter earlier today that the ultimate responsibility of a coach is to oversee the culture of the program. And even though it couldn't be proven in the investigation that Pat Fitzgerald knew about these hazing incidents, he has a responsibility to protect that culture, which, in the words of President Michael Schill, is partly broken now after what's happened here.
So you mentioned that Schill sends a letter, but we know there was a team meeting on Monday night. What happened in that gathering?
So Pat Fitzgerald did briefly address the team alongside his wife and 3 sons. His oldest son, Jack, is a freshman tight end. I'm told it was a very brief, addressed, emotional, teary in the room. And also coordinators David Braun and Mike Bajakian also spoke to the team. It was not a long meeting. Athletic director Derek Gregg is not here. He's been traveling overseas. He had to zoom in for the meeting. Michael Schill, the president, also was not present. And there have been some players on social media that have criticized both Gregg and Schill for not being there to deliver the news. So it was a brief, emotional meeting, but Pat Fitzgerald did address his team one final time. The winningest coach in Northwestern history, 17 years, the most decorated former player in the recent history of the school. He did speak to them one final time.
17 years there, 5 as an assistant, 4 as a player. So that's 26 years of equity in the program that now gets turned over to who's going to mind the store?
Well, they have not yet named an interim coach. However, David Braun, who's the new defensive coordinator, who is not with the Northwestern program before this year, will act as a liaison and manage the program and is likely in line to be an interim head coach in the near future. So they looked outside of the staff or the long-term staff for someone who came from the outside, who really couldn't be connected to any of these incidents in the past, even though the investigation didn't find evidence that the coaches knew of what was going on.
Pat Fitzgerald, head coach at Northwestern for the past 17 years, he released a statement Monday night which says, in part, that the investigation, quote, reaffirmed what I have always maintained, that I had no knowledge whatsoever of any form of hazing within the Northwestern football program. He said he and the school came to a mutual agreement last week, which was the 2-week suspension. Quote, therefore, I was surprised when I learned that the president of Northwestern unilaterally revoked our agreement without any prior notification and subsequently terminated my employment. He says his lawyers will now handle the next steps. Earlier on ESPN Radio, our Harry Douglas, who spent a decade in the NFL as a wide receiver, says, how are we even here in 2023?
There's nothing cool about it to me. There's nothing whatsoever cool about it to me. Now, do not put your hands on me against my will. That's where the problem comes. And I just think we're in a situation now, whether it's college football, high school football, any level of sports, period, I think the hazing just needs to stop. And I'm thankful, to have been around coaches that wasn't on the hazing tip or promoted it or promoted the things that people wanted to do, but also stood up there in team meeting rooms and said, hey, guys, this is what we're not going to do.
Disturbing details surrounding the allegations at Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald fired by the school after originally receiving a 2-week suspension by the school. School changing its mind on Monday. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Time for the Progressive MLB Snapshot. Baseball's All-Star Game coming up Tuesday night in Seattle. You'll hear the game here on ESPN Radio. Boog Shambi, Doug Glanville will have the call for us. Our coverage starts at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Monday, it was Home Run Derby Day. And man, were there home runs. You heard the 41 that Julio Rodriguez put up in the first round. There wasn't much that Pete Alonso could do about that.
And it's up against the fence. And Pete Alonso, for the second consecutive year, will lose in the Home Run Derby to Julio Rodriguez. Loses by a final score of 41-21.
Alonso hitting 21 homers and loses by 20. As you heard, second straight year, Rodriguez has eliminated Pete Alonso in the Derby. Alonso, with his 21 homers, now has 195 total homers, most in Derby history, but he was out in round one. Then there was Luis Robert Jr.
Left center, top row of the second deck and almost out of the ballpark at T-Mobile in Seattle. He's at 21 with 45 seconds to go.
Nearly out of the park in Seattle, but Robert was out of the first round, advancing to a semifinal matchup with Tampa Bay's Randy Arozarena.
Final 20 seconds, he's at 25. 26 out to left for Arozarena. Left center field, and it is off the top of the wall. 27 for Arozarena. There goes number 28, just squeaks over the wall. Time running out, 29. It'll count if it goes. goes. Second deck, number 30 for Randy Arozarena. That's a low line drive. Will it have enough carry to left center? Going to the wall, and it's caught by one of the ball kids down there. And Arozarena got under that last one. And he has 5 more in the extra 60 seconds. Randy Arozarena finishes. There's a pose, crossing the arms at home plate. He's got 35.
Arozarena taking advantage of his bonus time in the semifinal, and Robert couldn't quite get to the 3 dozen he needed.
And Randy Arozarena reaches the final as he eliminates Luis Robert Jr. 35-22.
Lexi Bernstein calling it here on ESPN Radio. The other semifinal, Julio Rodriguez, after his massive first round, coming up short against Vlad Guerrero Jr.
But again, he's making strong contact with low-line drives. That's not a low-line drive. That is annihilated to left, way into the second deck from Vlad Jr. 18 for Guerrero, final 5 seconds. 19 for Guerrero. There goes number 20. He has tied Julio Rodriguez at the end of his regular round. Guerrero launching one. There it goes. Vlad Jr. walking away from the plate, knowing he's in the final. Hits off the LED screen in left center field. And he has eliminated Julio Rodriguez, and our final will be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. against Randy Arozarena.
Guerrero Jr. trying to follow in the footsteps of his dad, who won the Derby 16 years ago.
Launching one. Second deck, here it comes in left center, number 10. Right behind it, number 11, left center. And there goes number 12. Low line drive, hooking down the left field line, hits off the top of the wall. No doubters, second deck, left field. Number 13, 40 seconds. Crushes one, left center. Midway into the second level. Off the facing of the second level, number 15 to left center. 5 seconds for Guerrero. And one last swing, and he hooks it to left. 25 for Vlad Jr. That is the total for Randy Arozarena to beat as we're in the finals of the Home Run Derby.
And Arozarena was swinging at a frenetic pace. However,
pops it up. He's got 23. One last pitch, and Arozarena falls short. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has won the 2023 T-Mobile Home Run Derby at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. 16 years after his father won the Home Run Derby in San Francisco, Vlad Jr. wins it in Seattle.
It's a family affair. Almost 2 decades apart, decade and a half, 16 years apart. Vlad Guerrero Jr. takes the Home Run Derby, 72 homers total, 163 now in his Derby career, which trails only Pete Alonso, who added to his total and now has 195 for the most in Derby history. But Vlad Guerrero takes the trophy home on Monday, first Blue Jays player to win the Derby, and he joins Justin Morneau as the only Canadian-born Derby champions. Our John Shambi caught up with him after the win.
The Home Run Derby champ, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You were excited. I saw you celebrate. Pretty cool, huh?
Sí, claro, obviamente, esto es una cosa que lo quería desde pequeño y gracias a Dios lo tengo en la mano hoy en día.
Obviously, it's something that I really wanted since I was a kid, and now I got it in my hands.
What did you learn from Cleveland when you got a chance to do it and put on a show there that helped you here?
¿Qué tú aprendiste del otro Home Run Derby en Cleveland, que pusiste un show, pero ahora lo ganaste?
Yo digo que no importa los honrones que tú des. Si Dios tiene la bendición para ti, Él te lo va a dar como quiera. Eso fue lo que aprendí.
What I say is, it doesn't matter how many homers you hit. If God got your blessings, you got the blessings, you're gonna win it, and that's what I hear.
Okay. Did anybody give you any advice going into this that helped you?
¿Alguien te dio algún consejo para ayudarte para ganar?
Bueno, yo creo que fue mi primo que todo el tiempo, cada round me voceaban que sacara de abajo, me veían cansado y yo creo que por eso me daba ánimo de sacar de abajo.
I want to say my family, my cousins, they were down here with me. I mean, they were pushing very hard to me to don't give up, keep swinging. So definitely a shout to my cousins.
will you wear that jacket at some point in the off season, like out to dinner?
¿Te pondrías ese jaque en la temporada muerta para salir a comer?
No, porque este jaque va para el Salón de la Fama junto con el trofeo para mi Salón de la Fama que tengo en la casa.
No, because that jacket is going to go to my own personal Hall of Fame that I got in my house.
Vlad Guerrero Jr., home run derby champion with the derby now in the rearview mirror. It's on to the All-Star game. Arizona's Zach Gallen gets the start for the National League. Garrett Cole will be on the mound for the American League.
Boy, is it special. I tell you what, I've watched a few of these games, and it seems every time that I've been to one of them, a Hall of Famer has started. And one of my fondest memories of the All-Star game was watching Pedro just mow people down in the late 90s. So I'm incredibly honored. I'm the only Yankee here, unfortunately, because of Aaron's toe, but I'm thrilled to represent the organization and be able to play tomorrow.
Yankees, Garrett Cole, who will start for the first time in his 6th All-Star appearance. Yankees and Diamondbacks All-Star starting pitchers for the first time since Roger Clemens faced Randy Johnson in 2001 in Seattle. Progressive MLB Snapshot. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. If there's a deal, it may not be on Dame time. That's next. SportsCenter all night. It's ESPN Radio.
Hey, this is Freddie Coleman, and coming up on Tuesday, my man Jay Will is back, and he's going to give the biggest takeaways from NBA Summer League so far. Don't miss it at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and ESPNU.
This is SportsCenter All Night on ESPN Radio.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The great symphonies and the most moving chamber compositions are all on TuneIn Sounds of the Symphony Station. Listen to the world's sweeping masterworks, from the greats like Mozart, Beethoven, and so much more on all your devices so you can stay focused and get lost in your favorite compositions. Just search Sounds of the Symphony on TuneIn to listen.
TuneIn's Poolside Station is your one-stop shop for pool party playlists. And now you can keep those good vibes going uninterrupted by going commercial-free. It's as easy as signing up for a TuneIn Premium plan. Then you'll be pumping Diplo, Purple Disco Machine, Disclosure, and more through your speakers with absolutely no ads. With TuneIn Premium, the party never stops. Just upgrade today to get started.
Did you know you can use AirPlay and Chromecast to listen on connected devices? Tap on the device icon from the Now Playing screen on the TuneIn app and listen to all your favorite stations like Today's Hits, Latin Hits, Country Roads, and more.
I smell sexy,
Instead of fly ball to left, back onto the track.
Hey, baseball fans, this is Buster Olney of the Baseball Tonight podcast. The MLB season is now playing on TuneIn Premium, featuring live home calls of every Major League Baseball team. Only TuneIn Premium gives you access to blackout-free coverage at home or on the road, from walk-off home runs to no-hitters.
He's done expo throws! The 8th no-hitter in history!
All the way through the World Series. Search MLB to start listening.
Are you always on the go but don't want to miss your favorite music? Then the TuneIn app is the perfect solution for you. Now you can take all your favorite audio with you, wherever you go. Download the app and never miss a beat with TuneIn.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council. To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. There's an American in the quarterfinals at Wimbledon. Chris Eubanks knocking off 5 seed in 5 sets. Took more than 3 hours to upset Stefanos Tsitsipas.
Everything from realizing that I have 2 credentials at Wimbledon for the rest of my life to checking my phone and seeing my name as an ESPN alert to realizing how much I disliked grass at the beginning of the grass court season to now look at where I am. Like, there's just so many different ways I could go about it, but I just think the entire experience altogether has just been a whirlwind, and it's been, something that you dream about. But I think for me, I didn't really know if that dream would actually come true, and I'm sitting here in it now, so it's pretty cool.
Eubanks will face number 3 seed Daniil Medvedev for a berth in the semifinals. Medvedev advancing as well, as do the top 2 seeds. Top seed Carlos Alcaraz with a 4-set win. Novak Djokovic, the 2 seed, with a 4-set win as well. They advance to the quarterfinals. On the women's side, 25th seed Madison Keys reaches the Wimbledon quarterfinals for the first time since 2015. Keys has won 9 straight matches and won 18 of the 19 sets in those matches. Sports Center All Night, ESPN Radio.
I think what I've learned more than anything is patience is critical. So I think that's how my approach has been with this and will be with this, is we're going to be patient. We're going to do what's best for our team. We're going to see, how this lands. And if it takes months, it takes months.
There's not a deadline in place now, really, until training camp opens in late September. And now it's going to be a process over perhaps this month, maybe into September, for Portland to try to extract as much as they can from Miami.
Damian Lillard asked the Portland Trail Blazers for a trade. Been a lot of speculation about where he might go, but general manager Joe Cronin saying he sees the whole situation.
I could see why Dame would look at it and say, well, this isn't a win-now opportunity as much as, or at least as much of a win-now opportunity as in other places. So from that regard, I understand his position and I respect it, and it makes sense to me why he would look to go elsewhere. The goal's always to have Dame as a Trailblazer. Always was and always will be. We wanted him to retire a Trailblazer, so we're very open-minded to anytime Dame wants to be a part of us.
And if he doesn't return, even though that door is still open in Portland, it may take a while for a trade to happen.
I think what I've learned more than anything is patience is critical. Don't be reactive. Don't jump at things just to seemingly solve a problem. I think the teams that have ended up in the most positive situation post-trade have been the ones that have been really diligent and taken their time and not been impulsive. The teams that kept their urgency under control. So I think that's how my approach has been with this and will be with this, is we're going to be patient. We're going to do what's best for our team. And we're going to see, how this lands. And if it takes months, it takes months.
GM Joe Cronin saying a Damian Lillard trade could take months to complete in order to satisfy the objective of leaving the franchise in the best possible position if they do ultimately trade away Damian Lillard. So how about teams motivated to trade for Lillard? ESPN insider Adrian Wojnarowski.
Miami is the team, certainly, I think, that is most motivated to trade for Damian Lillard, that is most willing perhaps to take on the $60 million average in his last 2 years at 35 and 36. There are other teams like, the Los Angeles Clippers who would love to be a part of this process, but, don't necessarily have the kind of assets, to really get involved. Portland doesn't love what Miami has, but it may be the best that they can get. And now it's going to be a process over perhaps this month, August, maybe into September, for Portland to try to extract as much as they can from Miami.
Joe Cronin says he hasn't spoken to Damian Lillard since July 1st. That's when Lillard asked to be traded, the request that came after about a year and a half, in which Portland finished with back-to-back draft picks in the top half of the lottery. Cronin said throughout the process he was trying to find win-now upgrades to build a winner around Damian Lillard, who has spent his entire 11-year career in Portland, trying to build that team around Lillard. So he's trying to figure out now what's best for the Portland Trailblazers. And as you heard him say, Cronin would be willing to leave the door open for a return. Straight ahead, what about returning to All-Star form? That's next. Sports Center all night at ESPN Radio.
Greeny.
If you put pineapple on a pizza, you are welcome to enjoy it if you choose to. But just be aware, what you are eating is no longer pizza.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
I need a degree from a university that understands what it's like to juggle school and a busy work schedule. I thought higher education wasn't built for me. Then I discovered WGU. I take courses on my own time, set my own deadlines, test when I'm ready. A respected degree from an accredited university built with working adults in mind? I choose WGU. Learn more at www.wgu.edu/universityofu.
Everyone said I should go to a traditional university, but I chose WGU. Their online RN to BSN degree is perfect for working nurses like me. I'm able to use my experience to move through courses faster, and the study time I put in between shifts actually pays off at work. WGU's CCNE accredited degrees are built by healthcare leaders, so I know I'll be graduating from a top-notch BSN program that employers respect. Learn more at wgu.edu.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time, as in spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage.
SportsCenter All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
SportsCenter All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, RVs, for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Half-hour headlines on SportsCenter All Night.
Vlad Guerrero Jr., your home run derby champ. The Yankees hiring Sean Casey as their new hitting coach after making a change this weekend. Garrett Cole and Zach Gallen get the starts for Tuesday's All-Star game. And Northwestern decides to make a coaching change.
News bomb here from Pete Thamel. Northwestern has fired head coach Pat Fitzgerald.
Perception rises above culpability. I don't know what Pat Fitzgerald knew. I don't know what his understanding was of the hazing and the extent of it. But I think there's a fair case to be made that he should have known.
There's nothing cool about it to me. Do not put your hands on me against my will. That's where the problem comes.
He is the head coach of a college football program. And whether or not he knew, it is his job to know.
Friday, it was a 2-week suspension. In the end, it wasn't even a 2-week notice. Northwestern taking another look at the hazing allegations in the football program and changes the original suspension to a termination for Coach Pat Fitzgerald. ESPN college football insider Pete Thamel.
When the very same results that Northwestern's administration looked at came to light in the Daily Northwestern through their reporting over the weekend, the school completely reversed course, and it ended up essentially where we are today. Obviously, the detailed and really difficult to even talk about the nature of the hazing activities was gruesome, and nobody really denies that they had happened. And I think a lot of this came down to the ambiguity over the knowledge of Pat Fitzgerald and the coaching staff. But the school was clearly put on its heels over the weekend by the Daily Northwestern's reporting, and a tidal wave of bad press followed, and that's where we are today. Pat Fitzgerald is no longer Northwestern's football coach. If you had told me a week ago that Pat Fitzgerald wouldn't be Northwestern's football coach, it's just as stunning of a downfall and as quick as a downfall as I've seen in my 2 decades covering college football.
Pat Fitzgerald spending the past 17 years as the head coach at his alma mater, 26 years overall when you add in his time as a player and as an assistant coach. Our Pete Thamel noted it was a stunning downfall. ESPN's Reese Davis certainly agrees with that characterization.
I'm shocked by it, and as long as I've been around this sport, not much surprises me anymore. But had someone come to me the day before this story broke and said, there's about to be a story in the sport that involves hazing of a sexualized nature, and it's going to be, fairly rampant and known within the program, give me 6 guys that you can guarantee it's not happening in their program. Pat Fitzgerald would have been on that list. It doesn't comport with what I've known of Pat over the years, yet the idea that this was not a secret in nature, that members of the football program for years and years had some knowledge of it, whether they thought it was something that was harmful or playful, is sort of doesn't matter at all. I'm really surprised that it was going on at Northwestern, and really shocked that it got to this point. I would like to have seen Northwestern be a little bit more forthcoming in the details of what that independent investigation unveiled. What exactly does it mean that the coaching staff had opportunity to know but didn't? Does that mean they turned a blind eye, which is unforgivable? Or does it mean that just because you're in charge, you're supposed to know everything, which is a much different standard to hold anyone to? Yet, when you're in charge of a program, you are responsible to some degree for everything that happens under your watch.
What happens when this happens? The reverberations in the Northwestern football program, any program, how do you recover from this? What are the steps that Northwestern goes through as the season is, a little more than a month away?
It's almost impossible because that's an extraordinarily difficult place to win to begin with. I think it's something they've had maybe 5-10 win season, and Pat Fitzgerald has been part of 4 of them either as a player in the 90s or as a coach 3 times. Even under Pat Fitzgerald, they've had some terrible seasons, most notably last year. I don't know how they recover because they have to find a leader who understands Northwestern, can instill some of the values of the things that work well while avoiding some of the pitfalls. Even if coaches don't know, because of that very thing that you mentioned, that does raise the bar for them in terms of their responsibility, because they are the ones who brought the players into the program, who perpetuated this alleged culture of hazing, which, according to what we've been told and read, dates back for quite some time. And obviously, I understand there's a very different perspective among some players on how they viewed this part of the Northwestern program, but I think it's obvious that now it has been extraordinarily damaging and has really wrecked Northwestern for the present and foreseeable future.
ESPN's Reese Davis. Monday evening, Pat Fitzgerald issuing a statement reiterating that he had no knowledge of the hazing in the program, yet said that he and the school reached an agreement last week on a 2-week suspension, which was the original discipline. He said he was stunned the school went back on that deal, in his terms, and has now fired him. Sports Center All Night, ESPN Radio. Speaking of coaches not agreeing with their termination, there's Bob Huggins at West Virginia. In the spring, he used an anti-gay slur during a radio interview. He was hit with a 3-game suspension and a $1 million reduction in his salary. 6 weeks later, on the heels of a DUI, the school announced on June 17th that he was stepping down. His attorneys saying over the weekend, that's not the case. And Monday, Huggins doubled down, saying in a statement he never submitted a resignation notice to the school and should therefore still be employed as the men's basketball coach. Huggins, in his statement, saying, quote, I did not draft or review West Virginia's statement. This false statement was sent under my name, but no signature is included. I am employed by West Virginia pursuant to an employment agreement. I never submitted the notice required under the employment agreement to voluntarily resign. Guessing he didn't technically write that one either. Earlier on ESPN Radio, our Amber Wilson, who is an attorney.
Wow. If in fact there is no correspondence from Huggins himself, and it's only coming from accounts of his wife, then I can see from a legal perspective the problem with the university acting like Huggins terminated an employment agreement, which is a written contract, which I don't imagine has language that says the contract can only be terminated if in fact it is terminated in writing. So from a legal perspective, I absolutely understand what's happening here. There's no way Bob Huggins ends up coming out of this looking okay. Right. But again, from a legal perspective, I actually don't think this is as crazy as most people think. Hey, West Virginia, you need to do better when you're getting the end of an employment agreement from such a long tenured famous get it in writing, guys. Right. It's not difficult, and make sure the writing comes from him. And by the way, get a signature on it. Like, what is the WVU council doing?
I have no idea
up to this point. So it is bad on the university as well that yes, they have allowed themselves to be in a position here where it does feel like there's this legal minutia where Bob Huggins has a lawyer who realized this. Hey, wait a minute. You didn't actually do this legally. You didn't actually end your employment agreement legally. Maybe there's some means for us here to go after some of this money.
And of course, back in June, it felt as though the school, out of deference to Huggins, was allowing him a more graceful exit than the situation might call for. But whatever bridge was intact back in the spring is certainly burnt now. ESPN college reporter Myron Metcalf.
Oh, he won't get another job. It's not just that he won't get another job in college basketball. He won't. But I don't think he'll be honored at West Virginia. I think that's what this ruins. Like, there's no world down the road where it's like, okay, let's bring Huggins back. Let's all say, hey, yes, he made some mistakes. We're still going to have a ceremony and honor him and do what we normally do for people in this position. I think that relationship is over. I think that divorce is about to get really, really messy. And I just don't think it had to be this way.
Huggins adding he voluntarily checked into a rehabilitation center and plans to remain there until he's cleared to return to his coaching duties. The school has said that's not happening, although they said it in more legal ease. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
25 for Vlad Jr. That is the total for Randy Arozarena to beat. 10 seconds to go. Low line drive down the line. He's off the wall. Pops it up. He's got 23. One last pitch. And Arozarena falls short. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has won the 2023 T-Mobile Home Run Derby.
Vlad Guerrero Jr., 25 in the final round. Randy Arozarena coming up just short with 23. You heard it here on ESPN Radio with Roxy Bernstein and Doug Glanville calling all the excitement. Roxy?
All right, Jay, the Home Run Derby champ in Seattle, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., along with his dad, become the first father-son duo to be Home Run Derby champions.
So you always ask, like, how much talent can you have in one family for baseball? I played against his dad, and he was a dominant player that hit everything hard, just like his son, who hits everything hard. But they also know how to showcase that talent. And Vladimir Sr. won the Derby, and now 16 years later, you see his son, who's a disciplined hitter, but also knows how to jump on the pitches that he can handle. So a combination of grace, patience, and power. And he put it all together. He was under the radar. He didn't have the big explosive round, but he was consistent. And he kept hitting the long ball, the distance balls that got him the bonus time. And he took advantage of it. He was running out of steam, but he had enough steam to get over there. And Randy Arozarena couldn't quite put him away, even though he was the last batter to hit.
So Vlad Jr. beats Mookie Betts, Julio Rodriguez, and Randy Arozarena en route to the championship. And again, Vlad Jr. wins it. But like last year's Home Run Derby, Julio Rodriguez may be the talk coming out of this, considering he set a single-round record. He had 41 homers in the first round, beating Pete Alonso, a two-time Derby champion.
Well, it comes to singular rounds and just the frequency by which he hits home runs. Julio Rodriguez has just been off the charts, just the ability to get on top of the ball and hit launch balls out. But the challenge for him has been he starts to slow down, gets a little tired, as he did the second round, and that's it. So how he can pace himself, I don't know. You got to hit as many as you can. But it's the show that sticks with you. You can't forget this guy hitting one after the other, 41 home runs, record-setting level in front of his home team and home crowd. And that's what it's all about.
Each of the 6 longest homers hit tonight belong to the top seed who has bounced in the semis, Luis Robert Jr., as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. becomes the first Blue Jay to win the Home Run Derby as he beats Randy Arozarena in the final 25-23. For Doug Glanville, I'm Roxy Bernstein right here in your home for the Saturday game of the week, Sunday Night Baseball, and every game of the postseason, and the 93rd All-Star Game coming up Tuesday night from Seattle. Major League Baseball on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Now back to Jay in the studio.
All right, Roxy, great job on the Home Run Derby. As always, SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio. As we are in the All-Star break, some of the focus, of course, is on the future, and that includes Shohei Ohtani, the 29-year-old, saying the desire to win gets stronger as free agency nears. He was asked Monday whether reaching the playoffs has become a higher priority as he sorts out the future. And he says, quote, those feelings get stronger year by year, saying so through his interpreter. Quote, it sucks to lose. He wants to win, so it gets stronger every year. ESPN analyst Eduardo Perez.
The offer is too good. You have to consider it. And then Shohei Ohtani can then, in the offseason, decide where he has to go. Baseball is different than basketball and different than football. You make your money on the field. You can make some incentives and endorsements off the field. But Shohei Ohtani is making more money off the field than he is on the field on the international market. So he'll have to consider where he goes and how that could play also economically to his favor. But if I'm the Angels, the smart move, not the emotional move, but the smart move is to trade him.
The Angels entering the All-Star break at 45-46. One game under 500 at the All-Star break. How about shutting him down for the rest of the summer? That's next. SportsCenter all night. It's ESPN Radio.
Hey, this is Freddie Coleman, and coming up on Tuesday, we hit the Major League Baseball All-Star break. Which team has been the biggest disappointment? I guarantee you Jay Williams would not like my answer. Don't miss it at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and ESPNU.
ESPN Radio Sports Center all night. More next.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
TuneIn's exclusive Soul Groove puts the groove in your day, bringing you the soulful classics of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, all day long, around the clock. Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Whitney Houston, and more of the artists you love, bringing the soul to all your devices. Get your groove on now. Just search Soul Groove on TuneIn to listen.
With the pennant race heating up, you won't want to miss a single moment of the action. From now until the World Series, TuneIn has you covered with play-by-play coverage of every game.
And that one's hit well, deep into left field.
So what are you waiting for? Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with TuneIn's live MLB coverage.
To the track, to the wall. Let's go! Game-winning home run.
All you have to do is search for MLB or tell your device to play your favorite team on TuneIn, and you'll be on your way to the ballpark. There's nothing like the sound of the ballpark. And this season, you can listen live right on TuneIn Premium. That's right, every single game of the MLB season is now available. From now...
Now swing. Line drive, base hit, right center field.
...to the World Series.
Fly ball to left.
Upgrade to TuneIn Premium today to follow your favorite team all season long. Just search Premium to play ball.
Back, look it up, it's gone.
Did you know you can use AirPlay and Chromecast to listen on connected devices? Tap on the device icon from the Now Playing screen on the TuneIn app and listen to all your favorite stations like Today's Hits, Latin Hits, Country Roads, and more.
I smell sexy,
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Are you always on the go but don't want to miss your favorite music? Then the TuneIn.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night, ESPN Radio. News out of Florida. Disgraced doctor Larry Nasser hospitalized this week after being stabbed multiple times Sunday in prison. The stab wounds to his back and chest, the result of an altercation with another inmate at the federal prison in Florida. NBA, the Trailblazers indicating Monday they'll be doing what's best for the franchise when it comes to Damian Lillard. And if it takes months for a trade to materialize, so be it. We've heard a lot about Miami, but what about other players? ESPN front office insider Bobby Marks. How about the Celtics?
Oh, they can, but it would probably be, we'd be hearing about Jaylen Brown. I mean, that's who we'll be talking about. If Brown is interesting, hopefully we'll hear more about this in the next week as far as they'll have him sign that extension. He's trade eligible until he does sign the extension. I think for Portland, if they ever went down that road, it's certainly a risk considering The Supermax goes out the window. He wouldn't be eligible. He wouldn't be extension eligible for 6 months. You're basically taking a flyer on a player that could become a free agent next offseason here. And I don't see them getting in the Lillard, sweepstakes without Brown. I don't think the package of Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams and draft picks is probably good enough here.
Lillard, 11 years in Portland. Blazers say the door does remain open if you'd like to return. At the other end of the career spectrum, there's rookie Victor Wembanyama. After that lackluster debut in the Summer League, he had a much better bounce-back game on Sunday. Now the Spurs will shut him down for the rest of the Summer League. ESPN insider Adrian Wojnarowski.
Wembanyama played a very long season in France, deep into the playoffs, played in every game. So he is coming off of certainly a different kind of wear and tear that, American college players did or the G League Ignite players did. And with that body, as the Spurs are learning his body, they're going to take their time. He's only been with them a short while. And so he comes off an outstanding second game in Summer League, leaves the organization with a good feeling of how he played. And now he gets a chance to rest his body and start developing and preparing for training camp in the fall.
Wembanyama saying he was ready to do whatever the Spurs wanted him to do for the rest of the summer. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Let's say hello to Mark Robbins and the top sounds from Monday.
Number 4.
Hello there, Jay. The platforms may be few when looking for top sound, but the selections are still top-notch. Like number 4, coming from Wimbledon, and the first ever top 10 victory for American Chris Eubanks over the 5th seed, Stefanos Tsitsipas on ESPN.
Oh, he doubles. Mishits the second serve. And Chris Eubanks will serve for this fourth set. We'll try to take it to a decider.
Number
3, the encouragement of a former champ, Juan Soto, pumping up Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the Home Run Derby on ESPN.
Ask Juan Soto what he should be doing here.
Hey, they want to know what he should be doing right now.
Just secure the ball. Take it easy. You got power, baby. Come on.
Línea.
Táquete, línea. Pero Vladi, vamos allá. ¿Qué lo que es? ¿Hay quien pueda contigo? Vamos arriba.
Vámonos, Vladi.
Calmadito ahí. Vamos arriba, seguro.
What he said.
Number 2.
Second round of the MLB Home Run Derby and the best round performance of all time. Coming from Seattle's own Julio Rodriguez. You heard it here on ESPN Radio.
20 seconds to go.
I mean, no slowdown at all. Everything is out.
Rodriguez, 40. 10 seconds remaining for Rodriguez, who's putting on an absolute show.
Every ball he hits in the air is gone.
Left center, pulled that one on the ground, and he's done. 41 home runs. Julio Rodriguez, who flexes now at home plate.
Number 1.
Finally, the end of the Derby brings a terrific competition to a solid finish. The long call on ESPN Radio.
Pops it up, he's got 23. One last pitch, and Rosarena falls short, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has won the 2023 T-Mobile Home Run Derby at T-Mobile Park in Seattle. 16 years after his father won the Home Run Derby in San Francisco, Vlad Jr. wins it in Seattle.
Vlad Guerrero, the Derby champ, and now it's on to Tuesday's game. National League will go with Zach Gallen as the starter.
I'll get to the atmosphere and everything that's taking place here, but first, how about the honor of being selected to start for the National League?
Yeah, it's a humbling honor for sure. There's been some cool names that have started the All-Star game, so I'm just glad to be able to go out there, and yeah, it's awesome.
What's been the secret to your success as you've grown as a pitcher?
I think for me is there's a little bit of a paranoia in the sense that I kind of just want to continue to evolve. I don't want to be stagnant, so I'm always trying to find ways to get better. for me. So I don't have the 100 miles an hour. I don't have the crazy stuff. So I got to find different avenues, different ways to get better, and just kind of know what I'm doing out there.
Have you already started looking at their lineup and figuring I'm going to do this to this guy, this to this guy?
Yeah, I have. Thankfully, I've seen. So I played against Corey and saw Seager in LA. We just saw Ohtani, and then I just saw Rangers earlier this year. And the race. So I've seen the first four hitters, so I kind of got an idea. Dan Herron's our pitching strategist. He wrote me a little report for the first 4 or 5 guys. So I'm treating it like a normal thing, Dan Herron is the best. The best, one of the best. When he found out, I think it was Friday, he asked me, "You starting?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's under wraps." He's like, "All right." He's like, "I'll write you a report for the first 4 or 5 guys." So he's a good dude. He didn't have to do that, so I really appreciate it.
Zach Gallen, the National League starter with our Boog Shambi. Garrett Cole starts the American League. You'll hear the game here on ESPN Radio. Our coverage starts at 7 o'clock Eastern. It's Tuesday, July 11th. Big day for the Lils. Lil Kim is 49. Lil Zane is 42. Big Ten with a stunner yesterday. Our Adam Rittenberg is here this morning with more on the Northwestern situation. 8 o'clock Eastern with Freddie Coleman and Jay Will. They're next. I'm Jay Reynolds. Back tomorrow with SportsCenter all night. It's ESPN Radio.
Hey, this is Freddie Coleman, and coming up on Tuesday, Joel Embiid is hoping James Harden wants to stay in Philadelphia and change his mind about being traded. Don't miss that and much more at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and ESPNU.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
Finding the perfect country soundtrack is easy with TuneIn's Country Road Station. Fill your day with the best music from country pop icons, whether you're cruising your own back roads or stuck inside at work, and everywhere in between, with country favorites from legends like Carrie Underwood or Florida Georgia Line, or some new hits from today's emerging country icons. Country Roads plays the country music you love. Just search Country Roads on TuneIn to listen.
Today's news can feel like uncharted waters. But more often than you'd think, we're not the first generation to confront what we're dealing with today.
We're just the first generation to make a podcast about it.
I'm Rachel Maddow.
I'm Isaac Davey Aronson. Each week, we'll bring you a story from history
that helps with something in the headlines today.
Rachel Maddow presents Deja News with Isaac Davey Aronson, an MSNBC podcast. Listen now on TuneIn.
Baseball fans, it's that time of the year again. The weather is getting warmer, and the boys of summer are taking the field. And if you're a fan of the MLB, you're in luck, because TuneIn is bringing you live coverage of every game. That's right. With TuneIn, you'll never miss a pitch, a hit, or a run. Whether you're at home, at work, or on the go, you can follow your favorite teams and players in real time. Search MLB or tell your device to play your favorite team on TuneIn to get in the game.
Are you looking for a way to listen to your favorite audio on the go? Look no further than the TuneIn app. With TuneIn, you can stay plugged into what matters most, no matter where your day takes you. Download the TuneIn app now and experience audio like never before.
The hottest Latin artists know how to bring good vibes and dance-worthy tracks. And now, with TuneIn Premium, you can keep the beat going nonstop with no commercials. That's ad-free listening on all your favorite Latin tracks. J Balvin, from Bad Bunny, Karol G, and so many more from all over the world. More Latin hits on all your devices. Zero ads. Just upgrade to Premium to get started today and keep the Latin music going nonstop.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S.
Bombshell report involving the Northwestern Wildcats football team involving allegations of hazing.
This is just a difficult situation, and it hasn't been handled well by the university. The investigation, the Northwestern Commission, did not find sufficient evidence that Pat Fitzgerald or any of his coaches knew about what they were able to corroborate. But that obviously generated a reaction, and the university president is now, as you said, reconsidering that penalty, which is essentially a 2-week suspension.
Oh, boy. Good Tuesday morning to you and yours. You got Jay Williams, Freddie Coleman together on ESPN Radio as well as the ESPN app.
Is it a good Tuesday morning? Not for some.
Not for some. We're going to get to that here on Sirius XM Channel 80 ESPNU as well. But before we get to all of that and the heaviness involving Northwestern football, Brother Jay Williams, how you doing this morning?
What up, brother? What up, brother Freddie? Brother Hot Sauce Freddie. What's going on, baby?
It only took 20 seconds. I thought you were going to say it sooner than that.
You're damn right.
You're determined to let me lean in.
How was your weekend? Because I had an extended weekend.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Weekend was good. Like I mentioned yesterday, had a chance to go back to my school, my heart, Mansfield University in Pennsylvania. We had a celebration of life for my football coach, Thomas Elsasser, who passed away not too long ago. And I got to give so many kudos to Carrie and Amy Elsasser, his daughters, who were fantastic. And I can't even imagine what they're going through because he never had sons of his own, but he had plenty of sons. And I had a chance to be fortunate to get up and speak about so many great players from when he coached at Passaic High School in New Jersey and also Mansfield University in Pennsylvania. Had a chance to speak on him beyond football. And 2 words I used about Coach E were save and reach, because he saved so many guys where he was not just the father figure, he was the dad to so many players at Passaic High School and at Mansfield University, and also reach. He always allowed you to believe that you could reach deep down in yourself in ways that you didn't even think were possible to be a better person, because he always talked about, I'm not here to raise football players. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to get you to the NFL. I'm here to make sure you're going to be better husbands, better fathers, better sons, better brothers, and be great guys in the community and great people and leaders in the community. Those are the 2 words I'm always going to associate, Jay, with Coach E. Save and reach, because he was all about that, not making it about him, but making sure you were going to be better going forward as a person.
May he rest in peace, man.
Absolutely.
It's amazing, Freddie, being a 41-year-old grown man right now with baby strollers and kids and a wife and family to take care of. Certain principles that you're taught when you're in your formative years that still are applicable to you today that I passed down to my kids.
No doubt.
I just lost an AU coach named Rich Leary.
Yeah.
That literally, I was 14 years old, Freddie, and we're playing at the Gauchos gym against Riverside Church, okay?
Wow.
I'm 14 years old. I'm playing against Elton Brand, LeVar Postel, Corey Maggette, and Eric Barkley. And I'm playing against grown-ass men, okay?
Like Eric Barkley of St. John's, Eric Barkley.
Yeah, Eric Barkley.
Played Ron Artest.
Yes,
back
Ron
then.
Artest. And
Wow.
Ron Artest was on that team as well, okay? Now, we got blitzed by like 80 points. I was so just debased coming off the court. And my coach was like, hey, this is a learning opportunity for you to learn what you need to do to continue to improve.
Absolutely.
Don't be defeated. Like, be inflated. Think differently about yourself, right? So those are still things that are applicable to me today.
Yeah. Because those kind of people that are in your life, they don't understand what kind of impact they can have on you. But then when they see it, when it's tangible, when that evidence is there, you're looking at yourself thinking, there's no way you can tell me I was not doing the right thing. I was not doing right by my players beyond the game of basketball, beyond the game of football, beyond the game of baseball. Pat Summitt, for example, is a prime example of that. all those years at Tennessee.
Yes.
God rest her soul. How many players talk about what she did for them as a woman that had nothing to do with basketball?
I hear from Carol Lawson every single day. He's head coach of Duke now on the women's team. I mean, just an epitome, a walking example of leadership and how to lead, which obviously leads into a bigger discussion today. Before we get there, though,
go ahead.
I want to ask everybody in the studio, Pat, Nuno, Yates, over the weekend, I had saw a woman aboard American Airlines. I had to bring this up because it was just, so imagine being on a flight and a woman is coming up from the back of the flight and she is just screaming hysterically.
I did see that story.
That a guy is not real. Like he is not real on the plane and demanded to get off the plane. Literally, it stopped the entire flight. Say he is not real. Like that's like some Final Destination stuff to me. Like, would you get off the plane? Like, Freddie, if somebody was screaming at the top of their lungs that a person is not real on the plane.
And I don't have Wesley Snipes and Pastor 57 to help me, I'm out of there.
Are you getting off the plane?
I'm getting off the plane. I don't want to be around somebody like that. I'll find a different
you're
flight.
staying on the plane.
Pat, staying on the plane?
No, it's not even a question. I'm staying on the plane. Not only do I not care, I'm turning the volume up in my headphones and closing my eyes and leaning back.
Someone that unstable, God bless you, not me.
Yeah, Yates is getting off the plane. I see it in Yates' face. Yates, you getting off the plane?
Me and you are gone, right?
Where's my seat?
Doesn't matter. You know my seat's.
Oh no!
You know my seat's not going to be.
The person who's freaking out. You know what I'm finna do?
What?
I'm grabbing my overhead stuff and I'm walking with Shorty off the plane. We're not playing.
We're not playing that.
Watch the video.
Exactly.
I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
Which is saying something on planet Earth.
I mean, screaming at the top of her lungs, he is not real.
My question is, Jay, why did anyone else who was on that plane? No one looked at the board that she was talking about. Like no one was like, let me check, make sure she ain't the one tripping.
Because they know that she's crazy as a loon, and they weren't feeding into that. They were hoping that she would go away. That's what that was. Everybody got to the end of Pat Costello.
That's what I'm saying.
They turned their headphones. They kept listening to Bruce Springsteen. They were good.
Got places to go, man. I can't.
Until you don't get there.
An episode.
Nuno, what about you? Are you staying on the plane? Because you're the tiebreaker here.
No, I'm out.
There we go.
I'm definitely looking back at the dude like,
exactly.
Tell me who you're talking about.
I feel like you guys are all lying. I feel like you're all saying that in the moment. But if you're sitting on that plane and you're like,
I don't know.
Man, I got 2 hours. I got to get to Florida or whatever. You're staying on that plane.
People have gotten off the planes for less.
Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Wait, somebody else on United Airlines had a breakdown because they didn't have the first choice of their meals. So I think the flight was going from West Coast over to the Netherlands, and it literally had to make an emergency stop in Chicago. Because somebody was like, I didn't get my first option of my meals, and they blacked out.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the amount of stuff going on planes right now. I don't like it.
The amount of things going on planet Earth right now.
I don't like it.
That's not just a planes, trains, and automobiles thing. There are plenty of things going on planet Earth outside of transportation issues or seeing the boogeyman in the background when it comes to that woman on that airline.
Like hazing. Hazing.
No doubt about
That's
this.
What's going on.
Speaking of not setting an example, not saying Jay Williams and Freddie Coleman, not doing that here on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app and ESPN2 and ESPNU. To say that it's ugly at Northwestern would be a complete understatement. They wound up firing their head football coach, Pat Fitzgerald, amid allegations of widespread hazing within the football program. Now, University President Michael Schill wrote in an open letter to the school community, and I quote, "The head coach is ultimately responsible for the culture of his team. The hazing we investigated was widespread and clearly not a secret within the program, providing Coach Fitzgerald the opportunity to learn what was happening. Either way, the culture in Northwestern football, while incredible in some ways, was broken in others," end quote. My question to you, Jay, we both have played sports. We both played in college. You played at Duke University in basketball. I played football, Mansfield University in Pennsylvania. How are we still here in 2023 with stuff like this?
I have no idea, Freddie. I have zero clue. Did hazing occur when I was in college? To a degree, but it was more like, give me 20 push-ups.
Okay.
Run, 3 wind sprints, run laps. It was more like things like that. It wasn't, when you start hearing some of these details, I'll give you one from the whistleblower that said, stripped naked and performed various acts, including bear crawling and slingshotting themselves across the floor with exercise bands. What are we doing?
What were they doing?
Like, runs giving, Shrek's clap, runs miss. These are all things to describe essentially multiple people holding down younger players. doing things like dry humping them. Things I don't understand what world we're living in where, as a head coach or an assistant coach, I've been around a lot of these guys. I mean, I worked college basketball for an extensive period of time. I've seen college programs. I spent time with Nick Saban. I went down to Clemson. I've been out to Texas A&M. I've seen the amount of oversight and control that coaches have into their programs. Coach K had student managers that clocked whether we made to classes on time, Freddie, on campus, whether we made it to our classes on time, yet alone what was happening in the locker room or in the showers. For him to not have any idea or have any clue to what was occurring is beyond me. I don't know how you don't.
I'm trying to figure out. It's one thing to say that you didn't know about it. And Pat Fitzgerald released part of his statement that he's going to have his attorney retained because he believes that his individual rights were compromised. I'm paraphrasing that these kind of things that he didn't know about. I know it's hard to follow 120 players off the football field or to follow 15 basketball players off the basketball court. But when you're the ringleader of this, according to these allegations, that you would literally take your hands and clap, and that signal that somebody was going to be a part of a hazing situation as a young player. When you're a guy that's in the College Football Hall of Fame, one of the great college linebackers in the history of that program and in college football, you've been associated with Northwestern football for 26 years, 17 as a head coach, as an assistant, and as a player. What kind of man are you, according to these allegations, to think that, you know what, this is going to build toughness? Hey, Pat Fitzgerald, and I've had conversations with him before on this program, on this network. Pat Fitzgerald, it's not 1935. These kind of things should not have been flying in 1935. But damn sure they shouldn't be flying in 2023. When you're the ringleader of that, according to these allegations, you can lose me with that, no matter what kind of previous relationship that he and I had. If these allegations are true and you were the ringleader, how do you account for that? And you look somebody's parent in the eye and say, this is what I allowed to happen to your son.
Well, you can't teach your players on the field to be accountable, right? Think what coaches do. Well, and I have this in the utmost respect too, because I dealt with it at school. It's like, hey, Jay, you're the point guard. Regardless of whether the play went right or not, that's on you. It's your job to orchestrate where everybody needs to be at all given time. So they teach you accountability. So now you're going to tell me that, well, when it comes to this situation, there is no accountability on my part? Oh, there's a lot to unpack here, Freddie. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
Now, whether it will be proven in the court of law that he was recognized what happened, and there are different ways that you need to prove that becomes challenging. But common sense would make you think that coaches, with the details that they know about how their program operates, how do you not know what's going on?
We're going to get into that, what Jay just raised, because that's when things can get even stickier involving the court of law and Pat Fitzgerald, allegations, Northwest football, past, present, and future. We'll do that next. He's Jay Williams and Freddie Coleman. Thanks for joining us this morning on ESPN Radio and ESPN2 and ESPNU.
Northwestern has fired head coach Pat Fitzgerald.
I don't know what Pat Fitzgerald knew, but I think there's a fair case to be made that he should have known.
He is the head coach of a college football program, and whether or not he knew, it is his job to know.
1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply. 1,872. That's how many hours there are in summer. With Instacart, you can make the most of your summer by shopping over 1,000 stores all in one app and pay with the security of PayPal at checkout. Download the app today to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. New Instacart customers also get $25 off your order of $75 with code PayPalNew25 through September 30th. Additional terms apply.
The great symphonies and the most moving chamber compositions are all on TuneIn Sounds of the Symphony Station. Listen to the world's sweeping masterworks From the greats like Mozart, Beethoven, and so much more on all your devices so you can stay focused and get lost in your favorite compositions. Just search Sounds of the Symphony on TuneIn to listen.
Are you looking for a way to listen to your favorite audio on the go? Look no further than the TuneIn app. With TuneIn, you can stay plugged into what matters most, no matter where your day takes you. Download the TuneIn app now and experience audio like never before.
In case you lost track of time, it's summer. The kids are home and family activities await. No matter what your summer holds, make the most out of it with TuneIn Premium. You can catch up on the news in no time with commercial-free CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News Radio. Soundtrack the summer with non-stop tunes from your favorite TuneIn music channel. And enjoy less ads on 100,000 more stations from around the world. Search Premium to upgrade today.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
And a curveball smacked into left center field.
As a sports fan, you know action. And TuneIn is here to bring you all the action. From nonstop live sports coverage from the biggest leagues.
Ovechkin with a steal. Chance here on the break-in. Kuznetsov fires. Scores!
To in-depth podcasts on what's going on with your favorite teams. And all the game-changing content in between.
Randall, step back three.
TuneIn is the playbook for sports fans.
Today's news can feel like uncharted waters. But more often than you'd think, we're not the first generation to confront what we're dealing with today.
We're just the first generation to make a podcast about it.
I'm Rachel Maddow.
I'm Isaac Davy Aronson. Each week, we'll bring you a story from history
that helps with something in the headlines today.
Rachel Maddow presents Deja News with Isaac Davy Aronson, an MSNBC podcast. Listen now on TuneIn.
Hey, true crime fans, have you heard about Dateline 24/7? Catch up on all the true crime stories from around the world anytime you want, streaming on TuneIn. Listen now for all the true crime drama you can handle.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Humping the victim in a dark locker room.
First off, shout out to the Daily Northwestern for actually uncovering this story. It's amazing, Freddie, how many times these newspapers or these editorial teams that are internally at schools are the ones who are actually uncovering the details of some of these things when national media or outside entities can't really have access to the players. So shout out to them for actually uncovering this.
Yeah, they did what the players should have done, not allow this to continue to happen.
So hard for a lot of times young players, and there's so much to get into. Can you just describe to me?
Okay. That's what they call running. Yeah.
it articulated to Coach Fitzgerald
That's completely
about
fair.
something erroneous happening in the locker room. Not once, Freddie. And if it was done once, that's enough for it to be investigated.
Right. And the thing
That's enough.
And to trampoline off your point, he had to know what was going on, especially according to these allegations. He led it. He organized it. He orchestrated it. He started it and had players take that to that level. So for him to all of a sudden say, well, I didn't know what was going on. Really?
So why are you clapping over people's heads? Like, if you know that is something that insinuates what a hazing act is, right? To intimidate a young player or to make fun of the situation, whatever the hell it is.
Absolutely.
Why are you acknowledging it in public?
I didn't think about that. That is a very, very point.
So you're condoning the behavior.
You're condoning.
That's what you're
bullying.
doing.
Yeah. He orchestrated and condoned bullying, according to these allegations.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
The more I know, the less I understand. By the way, Adam Rittenberg will join us at 8 a.m. The ESPN College Football Reporter that he is with the latest on Northwestern. We're definitely going to dive into that at 8 a.m. when he joins us here on ESPN Radio. Jay Williams over here, Freddie Coleman over there. Thanks for joining us as well. Keep hitting us up on Twitter at Real Jay Williams. That's Jay's handle. My handle at Coleman ESPN. But we switch gears to the NBA, and months and months and months could be the ordeal when it comes to Damian Lillard being traded by the Portland Trailblazers. We'll get to that after my man Jay has this from Grainger.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers high-quality supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as access to product specialists who have the knowledge and experience to answer your toughest questions. Plus, their commitment to being your safety partner can help you keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop on by.
Greeny. If you put pineapple on a pizza, you are welcome to enjoy it if you choose to. But just be aware, what you are eating is no longer pizza.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
If you're worried about money, you're not alone. 2/3 of Americans say they're stressed out because of finances. Rocket Money is here to help. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps track your spending by letting you set custom budgets and sending you alerts when you're about to go over them. Plus, Rocket Money lets you see all of your subscriptions and cancel any ones you don't want with a single tap. To learn more, go to rocketmoney.com/gameday or download the Rocket Money app from the Apple App or Google Play stores.
Hey guys, Tom Patterson here, founder and CEO of Tommy John. For years, you've been hearing me tell you about our revolutionary men's undergarments. But don't take my word for it. Listen to what our customers are saying.
Okay, I've been with my husband for 15 years, and my pet peeve has always been catching him rearranging himself. So I got him Tommy John, and he's never adjusted since.
Plain and simple, Tommy John's my favorite underwear ever. A horizontal fly, comfortable waistband, color options, and no wedgies. Thank you, Tommy John, for changing my life.
He's not exaggerating. Tommy John really will change your life. You'll love all of our phenomenal underwear, undershirts, and socks. Plus, the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free, guarantee. Tommy John, no adjustment needed.
Shop Tommy John's summer collection and get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com/stream. Save 20% now at TommyJohn.com/stream. See site for details.
MLB fans, when you need tickets to catch your favorite team live all season long, Ticketmaster's got them. As the world's largest ticket marketplace, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of seats available and at competitive prices, so you never have to worry about missing a game. Take yourself out to the ballpark this season and get tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/MLB. That's Ticketmaster.com/MLB.
Bundling and saving with Geico is an easy choice, so you're free to ponder life's big questions, like what's the best animal in the world if not humans? I'd strongly consider ducks to be somewhere up there on the list. Think about it. Ducks can swim, ducks can fly, and ducks can walk on land. They have access to all terrains. They are the ultimate animal. And they wiggle their butts when they walk, which is funny. Yeah, ducks are awesome. End of story. Bundling and saving with Geico. It's an easy choice.
With summer in full swing, now's the perfect time to head to the ballpark. Score great deals on great seats from our friends at Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN. Every crack of the bat, every diving catch, every heart-pounding play, experience it live, in person. From the first pitch to the final inning, Vivid Seats has a huge selection of MLB tickets, and they're the only ticket company that rewards your purchases. For the best selection of 2023, shop now. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats. Experience it live. This baseball season has been incredible, and Buster Olney has been there each week giving you all the news and in-depth discussions with baseball analysts. But with the season hitting the halfway point, the Baseball Tonight podcast and Granger are bringing you a one-of-a-kind episode highlighting the greatest moments so far this year. From walk-off finishes to all-star performances, Buster will cover it all. So be sure to listen to the Baseball Tonight podcast, presented by Granger, wherever you get your podcasts. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Granger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you, with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Kentucky Fried Chicken's new Ultimate Barbecue Fried Chicken Sandwich. An extra crispy filet loaded with hickory smoked bacon, cheese, crispy onions, and sweet honey barbecue sauce. It tastes just like summer, but like the good part of summer, not leaving the tent door open and waking up to a swarm of mosquitoes, 2 chipmunks, and one very, very large woodchuck. Anyway, try KFC's new Ultimate Barbecue Fried Chicken Sandwich. It's a barbecue in every bite. That's finger-licking good. For a limited time at participating locations while supplies last, prices may vary.
Today on ESPN Radio.
At the wall, it's gone! Wow! The other way for Corey Seager. That's some kind of power.
The 2023 Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
That one is gone! Mookie Betts with the home run.
The Midsummer Classic from Seattle, Washington.
Swing and a miss. Struck him out.
The 93rd Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Coverage begins today at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on your smart speaker.
Tomorrow, it's time to show up and show out. As the ESPYs celebrate the best in sports and those who have the biggest impact. Don't miss this epic night with appearances by Patrick Mahomes, Sue Bird, Jamal Murray, and a performance by Grammy and Oscar-winning artist, Her. The ESPYs live, 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on ABC and stream the next day on Hulu.
Pops it up, he's got 23. One last pitch, and Rosarena falls short, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has won the 2023 T-Mobile Home Run Derby.
Roxy Bernstein with the call on ESPN Radio. That's how it sounded as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He is your 2023 Major League Baseball All-Star Home Run Derby champion. He beat Randy Arozarena of the Tampa Bay Rays in the final 25-23. By the way, you can listen to 2023 Major League Baseball All-Star Game tonight on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app with coverage beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And it continues to be the story in sports, lack of glory. When it comes to Northwestern football, they fired their longtime coach Pat Fitzgerald on Monday amid allegations of widespread hazing within the football program. The firing of Fitzgerald comes after the school announced on Friday that he'd been suspended without pay for 2 weeks this summer following the conclusion of a university commission investigation into allegations made by a former Northwestern football player. In his letter Monday, University President Michael Schultz said the decision to fire Fitzgerald comes after a difficult and complex evaluation of my original discipline decision imposed last week on Coach Fitzgerald for his failure to know and prevent significant hazing in the football program. Sports Center is presented by Progressive Insurance, insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs. For protection on the road and on the water, see how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
I think what I've learned more than anything is patience is critical. So I think that's how my approach has been with this and will be with this, is we're going to be patient. We're going to do what's best for our team. We're going to see, how this lands. And if it takes months, it takes months.
There's not a deadline in place now, really, until training camp opens in late September. And now it's going to be a process over perhaps this month, maybe into September, for Portland to try to extract as much as they can from Miami.
It's game time.
Or is it?
But that clock's a little delayed.
Just a
Is this
tad.
thing working?
Is my watch working right now? Because it's not happening on my time.
Yeah, the Apple Dame watch may have run out of juice, at least right now. Jay Woods, Freddie Coleman together on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80 and ESPNU, presented by Progressive Insurance. Let's listen to Trader Joe, or maybe not Trader Joe. When it comes to Joe Cronin, Blazers general manager, everybody automatically has assumed sooner than later, but at a certain point, that Damian Lillard is going to be traded by the Portland Trail Blazers to the Miami Heat. If that happens, Joe says, hey, that Dame time, y'all better be patient.
I think what I've learned more than anything is patience is critical. Don't be reactive. Don't jump at things just to seemingly solve a problem. I think the teams that have ended up in the most positive situation post-trade have been the ones that have been really diligent and taken their time and not been impulsive. The teams that kept their urgency under control. So I think that's how my approach has been with this and will be with this, is we're going to be patient. We're going to do what's best for our team. We're going to see, how this lands. And if it takes months, it takes months.
Joe Cronin's been going to some GM 101 classes since his last interview, huh?
It's like he went to GM negotiation tactic for dummies.
I mean, no, real talk, because the tonality of this interview compared to the last one, Freddie, a complete dichotomy, right? Last interview, it was like, well, we're building a winning team. We're building a winning culture. And he left too many gaps in the argument. Everybody's like, well, wait a second. Now you're building a winning team. Now you're building a winning culture. Like, we just saw you tank at the end of the season. Like, you're putting your foot in your own mouth. This time, way more precise in the way he spoke,
absolutely.
Right? First off, I give Joe credit, admission of guilt. He started off the interview by saying, yeah, I failed Dame. Now think about what that does. It disarms everybody, right? The first thing your parents teach you when you get in trouble is don't lie, just tell me the truth. Right? I mean, I'll come home to my mom. Mom, where'd you go with my car? I just went down to Tommy's house. Did you? Really? Why is there a parking sticker on my car from the Jersey Shore? That's an hour away. But how come you just didn't start off by saying, I messed up, Mom. I went down to the Jersey Shore. I lied. Think about if you start off the conversation that way, how it sets a different tone and opens up for like, well, damn, he just told me the truth. Now I need to deal with that. Okay, but accountability goes a long way, Freddie.
No doubt.
He said he failed Dame. That just automatically gets you to lean in a little bit on Joe Cronin and say, okay, you know what? I kind of like you. You just told me the truth. And then to go through the line of saying, hey, look, my hand is not going to be forced. Aaron Goodwin has came out. He's made a statement that if we are engaging other teams in trade talks, that they have a chance to have a potential unhappy player in Dame.
Right.
Okay. You want to force my hand? Fine. Now we're going to wait. I love the National Geographic channel, Freddie. You know why? Because I love watching lions hunt.
Right.
You ever watch a lion hunt?
Oh, yeah. My favorite animal is a cheetah.
Okay.
I love the way,
Same thing,
cheetah
right?
gets
after.
when
they get down really low on all fours, it's like they're laying down and they're perching and they're moving softly and judiciously in that tall, grassy area. And they're just waiting. They sit there and they wait. It could be 20 minutes. It could be an hour. They're waiting for that right time. That's what Joe Cronin is going to do right now because there's no timeline. Right. Well, you want to wait until All-Star? You want to wait until the middle of the season, Miami? What do you want to do? And by the way, I'm going to flip it. Dame, I hope that you're willing to be respectful. I hope that you're willing to be a pro's pro. We've seen the way James Harden's gone about doing it. How much has that tarnished his brand? Are you going to be the same? We have a lot of young players. Are you going to teach them how it is to be a pro? Are you going to do the right thing by the organization as we try to make the right steps to get the value in exchange for a player of your caliber? Now all the energy and all the attention is back on how Dame handles the process.
Great stuff by Jay Williams, Freddie coming together on ESPN Radio. I will say this, when I heard that from Joe Cronin, I said that is an ultimate negotiating tactic. To go back to what we said about 5 minutes ago, it's as if somebody looked at and said, Joe, a word?
A word?
Please? Because the words you use, not a good idea when it comes to negotiating. You're not helping us to make this situation more palatable on our timeline because he basically put control back to the Portland Trail Blazers. He's like, look, we want to make a trade. Damian, we want to do right by you. We don't want you to be a disgruntled employee. We don't want you to go to the company cafeteria and throw jello at the people behind the scenes. That's not what we want. What can we do to make this more amenable? Let's just clear the deck and say, look, when it happens, it's going to happen. We want it to happen. You want it to happen. But let's make sure that we don't have any kind of disharmony. And now we got a guy that doesn't want to be here, that's letting know he does not want to be here. And then he's got stink face because it's not going to according to his plan. The Portland Trail Blazers control everything. They can say, Damon, we want to trade you, but we want to make sure we get the best deal possible, not just to help you, but to also help us. It's the best negotiating tactic that he could have said to use in favor of having everything swing back in favor of the Portland Trail Blazers.
Also, Freddie, if I'm Joe, right? I was on First Take on Thursday with Stephen A. Smith, and we were talking about it.
You knocked it out, by the way.
Thank you. The question was, what is the best trade partner for the Portland Trail Blazers? Not what's in Dame's best interest.
Absolutely.
Or what's the best fit. Like, what's the best trade partner? And on paper, I'm sitting there saying, that's easy. It's the Boston Celtics.
Absolutely.
If I can get Jaylen Brown and draft picks in replace for Dame, now I have a backbone of a two-way guard with Anthony Simon, Shaedon Sharpe. I got it, right? Stephen A. then went and said, I'm not going to tell you who, but I got told multiple times, Dame ain't going to Boston. Let me say it again, Jay. He ain't going to Boston. He yelled it. Let me say, he's not going to Boston.
That's pretty good, by the way.
So now if we're hearing that from Stephen A. Smith, I'm hearing that from Aaron Goodwin about an unhappy player. Guess what? If I'm Joe, I'm saying, you just kind of screwed yourself now.
Completely.
Because I was willing to make it work with Miami, but I was going to use all these other teams as leverage to get more from Miami. You have to know that. But now that you force my hand, now it's a sit and wait approach. Now it's going to happen on my timeline. Now you have to wait.
And what could possibly happen? Because if we're going to take Joe Cronin at his word that it could take months and months and months, that means this ain't happening before training camp.
Nope.
That means you're going to still need this guy as a part of the organization. Damian Lillard is not going to sit out and not get paid close to $46 million. He's not doing that. He'd be a fool to do something like that. So now when training camp happens, and let's say there's no trade, and you have the introductory press conference for the regular season, that gets very awkward.
Oh, Freddie. And what they say too, like the sign of professionals, how you handle yourself on the way out the door matters to your next employer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, that's a real thing.
No doubt.
Like, you gonna blow up me, you could blow up somebody else. And if you're that employer, you're not sitting there saying, well, dang, that's how it went down. What is he gonna do to me? Like, everybody's watching now Dame's next move.
Because that would not fly with Miami.
No. You think Pat Riley? You think Pat Riley? Like, oh, that's the way you're going to, hold on now. Maybe we have to reassess.
The ultimate Marlon Brando in the NBA?
But now if you're Pat Riley, now you're forced to negotiate against yourself.
Absolutely.
To a degree.
To me, if anything, Portland probably were able to hasten the timeline a little bit, because now if you're Miami, you don't want to wait till the trading deadline or close to training camp. How much more pressure does it put on them to say, okay, what can we really do? Either we're all in with this or we got to take a step back. He's even put that kind of pressure on teams out there to say, we want this guy in early. We don't want to wait till the trading deadline and think that that's going to work. If anything, that negotiation tactic has turned up the pressure on teams wanting to make sure the right package is going to be there to bring Damian Lillard there sooner than later.
We'll talk about that coming back from break. Because
that's right.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that one, Freddie. I think they have some time in the 305.
We'll do that. We'll have a Will Fee moment when it comes to that. And also Will Fee about ESPN Rankem Series, Jay's top 5 NFL players. How many quarterbacks will be a part of that?
We also have to talk about Alan Yates' dog.
That's at 7.
Number 2.
Yeah, that's at 7. Yeah. We'll do that at 7. Yeah. We'll do a 2 at 7. But we're going to do Jay's 5 next on ESPN Radio.
Everywhere.
Camp to camp, every rep, team to team.
It's on this field where fortunes are made or lost.
Continuing coverage. The countdown to kickoff rolls on. 58 days until the NFL season begins.
Yeah, I like football. I like football season and all the things that go with it.
The NFL lives here. ESPN Radio.